Savannah Bell pressed her fingers against her temples, trying to piece together the fragments of the night before. She sat in her apartment kitchen, staring at a bouquet of white roses she didn't remember buying. The flowers were fresh, their petals still kissed with morning dew, but the vase they sat in was definitely hers. "Think, Savannah, think," she whispered to herself, a habit she'd developed over the past few months when these memory gaps became more frequent. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Did you like the roses?" Jay. Jay? She scrolled through her contacts, but no one with that initial seemed familiar. Yet something about the letter made her heart race in a way she couldn't explain. Another text. "Coffee at Meridian Cafe? You know, our usual spot." Our usual spot? Savannah had never been to Meridian Cafe in her life. But as she typed back, "I think you have the wrong number," her fingers hesitated. Instead, she found herself writing, "What time?" 11 a.m. "Can't wait to see you again." Again? Savannah's hands trembled as she set the phone down. The smart thing would be to ignore the stranger, but something deep in her chest pulled her toward that cafe like a magnetic force. An hour later, Savannah stood outside Meridian Cafe, her heart pounding. Through the window, she spotted him immediately, a tall man with dark hair and the most intense green eyes she'd ever seen. He was sitting at a corner table, 2 coffee cups already waiting. The moment their eyes met, recognition flooded through her like a dam breaking. Not memory, exactly, but a feeling so strong it took her breath away. She knew him. Somehow, impossibly, she knew him. "Savannah." His voice was warm honey when she approached the table. "You came." "Do I know you?" she asked, even as she found herself sitting across from him, her hands wrapping around the coffee cup, made exactly how she liked it. "My name is Jackson Hayes." He leaned forward, his eyes searching her face. "And yes, you know me. Better than anyone ever has." "That's impossible." "I would remember." "Would you?" Jackson's expression grew pained. "Savannah, what's the last thing you remember about yesterday?" Savannah opened her mouth to answer, then closed it. Yesterday was a blur. The day before that, even hazier. In fact, when she really tried to think about it, the past 3 months felt like looking through fog. "I've been having some memory issues," she admitted quietly. "My doctor thinks it's stress from work." Jackson reached across the table and took her hand. The moment their skin touched, images flashed through Savannah's mind. Laughing with this man in a park, dancing in someone's living room, falling asleep in his arms. But they were like scenes from a movie she'd watched once and mostly forgotten. "Savannah, listen to me very carefully," Jackson said, his voice urgent. "What I'm about to tell you will sound insane, but I need you to trust me. Your memories aren't gone because of stress. They're gone because I took them." She jerked her hand back. "What are you talking about?" "I have a condition, a gift, a curse, I don't know what to call it. When I touch someone, I can access their memories. And if I'm not careful, I can take them." His eyes filled with anguish. "Savannah, we've been together for 3 months. We fell in love. And every few days, when your memories of me start to become too solid, too real, I have to take them to protect you." "Protect me from what?" "There are people who want to use my ability for terrible things. If they knew how much you meant to me, they'd come for you. The only way to keep you safe is to make sure you can't remember me long enough for them to notice." Savannah stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. "This is insane. You're insane. I'm leaving." But as she turned to go, Jackson called out, "Your scar." She froze. "What?" "The scar on your left shoulder blade. You got it when you were 7, falling off your bike trying to impress Bobby Earl from next door. You've never told anyone that story because you're embarrassed that you crashed trying to do a wheelie." Savannah's blood ran cold. She had never told anyone that story. Ever. "Your favorite song is La Vie en Rose, but only the Edith Piaf version. You sing it in the shower when you think no one can hear. You put hot sauce on everything, even ice cream, which disgusts most people but makes me love you more. Each detail hit her like a physical blow. These weren't things someone could guess or research. These were intimate truths that only someone who truly knew her could possess. "How?" she whispered, turning back to face him. "Because I love you, Savannah. And every time I have to erase myself from your memory, it kills me a little more." Jackson stood up, his movements careful and deliberate. "I know this is overwhelming. But Savannah, we don't have much time. They're getting closer. I can feel it." "Who's getting closer?" "The people I used to work for. An organization that collects people like me. They call themselves the Archive." His voice dropped to a whisper. "They think I'm still loyal to them, but I've been living off the grid for months, trying to build a life with you. If they find out..." Savannah's mind reeled. "This is too much. I need proof. I need something concrete." Jackson nodded, understanding in his eyes. "Your apartment. Go to your bedroom closet. Behind the false back wall you don't remember building, you'll find a box. Everything you need to know is in there." "How would I have built a false wall? I don't even own a screwdriver. We built it together. You insisted on hiding evidence of our relationship, even from yourself, just in case." His smile was heartbreaking. "You're the smartest person I know, Savannah. Even with your memories gone, you planned for this moment." As Savannah stared at him, fragments of dreams she'd been having for weeks suddenly made sense. Dreams of hiding something important, of building a secret compartment, of kissing a man whose face she could never quite remember when she woke up. "If I go home and find this box," she said slowly, "what happens then?" "Then you'll have to decide if you want to remember everything we've shared, knowing that remembering might put you in danger." Savannah's phone buzzed. A text from her sister. "Savannah, are you okay? You missed our lunch yesterday and you're not answering your phone. This isn't like you." Lunch with her sister. Savannah had no memory of missing it, no memory of her sister even calling. "How much have you taken?" she asked, her voice barely audible. "Too much," Jackson admitted. "I've been careless lately, taking memories that weren't just about me because I was scared and desperate. Your work presentations, conversations with friends, family dinners. I've been stealing your life piece by piece." The weight of his confession settled over Savannah like a heavy blanket. She thought about all the moments she'd lost, all the confusion she'd been living with, the way her coworkers had been looking at her strangely, how her sister had been increasingly worried. "I have to go," she said. "Savannah, wait." "No." She held up a hand to stop him. "I need to see this box. I need to understand what you've done to me." Jackson nodded, his face etched with pain. "The combination is 1247. The date we first met." "And when was that?" "January 24th, 2024. A Thursday. You were buying coffee at the bookstore on 5th Street. You ordered a lavender latte and complained to the barista that it tasted like soap. I told you they'd made it wrong, that lavender lattes should taste like dreams, not cleaning products." Despite everything, Savannah felt a flutter of something, memory or longing, she couldn't tell which. "If this box exists," she said, "I'll call you. And if it doesn't? Then I'm calling the police." Savannah's hands shook as she stood in her bedroom closet, staring at the back wall. At first glance, it looked completely normal. But when she pressed on the wood panels, one of them gave slightly. Her heart racing, she found the hidden latch Jackson had described. The false panel swung open, revealing a small space containing a single metal box. The combination 1247 opened it easily. Inside, Savannah found photographs of herself with Jackson, dozens of them. Pictures of them hiking, cooking together, curled up on her couch watching movies. In every photo, she looked happier than she could remember being in years. There were also handwritten notes in her own handwriting. Day 23. Jackson took the memories of our fight about his past. I forgave him, but now I can't remember why we fought. Writing this down so I don't lose everything. Day 45. I love him. God help me, I love him more than I've ever loved anyone. But I'm starting to forget my own mother's voice. We have to find another way. Day 67. Jackson says the archive is suspicious. Someone's been asking questions about him. We might have to run. The final note was dated just 3 days ago. If you're reading this, something has gone wrong. Trust Jackson. But more importantly, trust yourself. The evidence of what the archive does to people like us is in the safety deposit box. Key taped under the bathroom sink. Whatever happens, don't let them take you alive. Savannah sank to the floor, the weight of evidence overwhelming her. The photographs, the handwriting, the intimate details, it was all real. Jackson was telling the truth. But as she reached for her phone to call him, she heard the sound of her front door opening. "Savannah," a woman's voice called out. "It's Dr. Magnolia Whitfield. I've been worried about you." Savannah froze. Dr. Whitfield was her therapist, the one who'd been treating her for her stress-related memory issues. But Dr. Whitfield had never had a key to her apartment. "Savannah, I know you're here. Your car is in the parking lot." Quietly, Savannah gathered the photos and notes, stuffing them back into the box. She crept to her bedroom door and peered out into the hallway. Dr. Whitfield wasn't alone. 2 men in dark suits flanked her as she moved through Savannah's living room with practiced efficiency. "Check the bedroom," Dr. Whitfield instructed. "If she's found the box, we need to know." Savannah's blood turned to ice. Dr. Whitfield was part of the archive. As footsteps approached her bedroom, Savannah clutched the metal box to her chest and tried to think. The bathroom window, it was small, but she might be able to squeeze through. She made it to the bathroom just as she heard her bedroom door open behind her. Her fingers found the key taped under the sink, just as her note had promised. The window was a tight fit, but adrenaline gave her strength. She tumbled out onto the fire escape, the metal box still clutched in her arms. As she climbed down the fire escape, she could hear voices from her apartment. "She's gone. The box is missing. Find her. If she remembers everything, she becomes a liability." What about Hayes? Hayes is no longer our concern. It's the girl we need now. Savannah's phone buzzed as she reached the alley behind her building. A text from Jackson. "They're coming. Meet me at the place where we first kissed. You'll remember when you see it." But Savannah didn't remember where they first kissed. She didn't remember most of anything. Another text. "Trust your heart. It remembers what your mind cannot." As Savannah stood in the alley, holding a box full of evidence of a love she couldn't remember, she realized she had a choice to make. She could run to the police, try to explain this impossible situation, and hope they believed her. Or she could trust Jackson, trust the version of herself who had written those notes, and go to a place her heart might remember, even if her mind could not. Behind her, she could hear the archive agents leaving her building, their voices carried on the wind. She can't have gotten far. Search the perimeter. Savannah closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and tried to listen to her heart. Somewhere in the distance, she could hear the faint sound of jazz music playing from a club or a restaurant. Without understanding why, she felt drawn to the sound. As she walked toward the music, Savannah couldn't shake the feeling that she was walking toward her destiny and quite possibly her doom. The jazz music led Savannah to Riverside Park, where a small cafe with outdoor seating was hosting a late-night concert. As she approached, something stirred deep in her chest, not quite memory, but recognition. There, at a small table near the bandstand, sat Jackson. He looked up as she approached, relief flooding his features. "You found it," he said, noticing the box in her arms. "Dr. Whitfield," Savannah said, sliding into the chair across from him. "She's with them." The archive. Jackson's face went pale. "Magnolia Whitfield? Your therapist. You know her." "Savannah, Magnolia Whitfield is my sister." The words hit Savannah like a physical blow. "What?" "My half-sister. She's been with the archive for years." Jackson's voice was hollow. "When you started having memory problems, I suggested you see a therapist. I researched the best ones in the city and, God, Savannah, I sent you straight to her." Savannah felt the world tilting around her. Your sister has been treating me for memory loss that you caused? I didn't know. I swear I didn't know she was archived. She told me she left the organization years ago, that she was living a normal life. His hands clenched into fists. She's been monitoring you this whole time, reporting back to them. Which means they know everything about me. Everything about us. Jackson nodded grimly. We need to get to that safety deposit box. Whatever you hid there, it might be our only chance. As they walked through the quiet city streets toward the bank, Savannah found herself studying Jackson's profile. Even without her memories, she felt safe with him. But trust was becoming a luxury she couldn't afford. Tell me about your ability, she said. How does it work exactly? Jackson was quiet for a long moment. It started when I was 12. I touched my dying grandfather's hand, and suddenly I could see his whole life, every memory, every moment. When he died, I realized I hadn't just seen his memories. I had them. They were part of me now. And you can take memories from living people too. Not take. Copy. The original memory stays with the person, but I can access it, and if I concentrate, I can suppress it. Make it inaccessible to them. Savannah stopped walking. You said you took my memories. I simplified. The memories are still in your head, Savannah. I've just been blocking your access to them. So you could give them back? In theory, yes. But the process is dangerous. If I try to restore too many memories at once, the shock could cause permanent brain damage. Or worse. They reached the bank, an imposing building that looked fortress-like in the darkness. Savannah used the key to access the safety deposit box, her heart pounding as she lifted the lid. Inside was a single flash drive and a letter addressed to her in her own handwriting. Savannah, if you're reading this, then Jackson has told you the truth about his abilities. But there's something else you need to know. The archive doesn't just collect people with supernatural abilities. They create them. The memory serum in Dr. Whitfield's office, the one she's been giving you as medication for your anxiety, it's been enhancing your brain's capacity to retain and process memories. They're not trying to cure your memory loss. They're trying to make you like Jackson. You're not losing your memories because of his ability. You're losing them because your brain is being rewired to accommodate new capabilities. The memory gaps are a side effect of the transformation. They want to create a pair of memory manipulators. One who can take memories, Jackson, and one who can store and organize them, you. Together, you would be able to map and control the memories of entire populations. There's more. Check the flash drive. And Savannah, don't trust anyone. Not even me. I wrote this 3 months ago, and I don't know what I might have learned or forgotten since then. Past you. P.S. The real reason you fell in love with Jackson isn't because of some romantic destiny. It's because your enhanced brain recognized his abilities and was drawn to them. Love might just be a side effect of the serum. Savannah's hands trembled as she finished reading. She looked at Jackson, who was reading over her shoulder. Is it true? She whispered. I don't know, Jackson said, but his voice was uncertain. Savannah, I can access memories, but I can't always tell if they're real or implanted. What if everything I remember about our relationship is artificial? Savannah plugged the flash drive into her phone. It contained hundreds of files, video footage of archive facilities, documents detailing experiments on subjects like Jackson, and most shocking of all, footage of herself undergoing procedures she didn't remember. In one video, she watched herself sitting in Dr. Whitfield's office, but instead of a therapy session, she was hooked up to an 4 drip while Dr. Whitfield monitored her vital signs. My God, Savannah breathed. How many people are they doing this to? According to these documents, there are 12 active subjects in the program. You and I are the first successful pairing. Savannah scrolled through more files and found something that made her blood run cold. Jackson, look at this. It was a mission briefing dated for the following week. The archive was planning to deploy her and Jackson to infiltrate the Pentagon, where they would use their combined abilities to access and copy the memories of high-ranking military officials. They're going to use us to steal state secrets, Savannah said. We have to stop them. How? We're just two people against an entire organization. Jackson took her hand. Savannah, there's something else. Something I haven't told you. What now? When I access someone's memories, I don't just see them. I can change them. I can implant false memories, alter existing ones, or create entirely new experiences that feel completely real to the person. Savannah stared at him. You can rewrite people's minds. The archive doesn't know I can do this. They think I can only take and suppress memories. But Savannah, if I can get close enough to Dr. Whitfield and the other archive leaders, I can make them forget this entire program ever existed. And what about us? What about these abilities they've given me? I don't know if we can undo what they've done to you. But Savannah, I need you to know something. Even if your feelings for me are artificial, even if they're just a side effect of the serum, what I feel for you is real. Memory manipulation or not, I love you. Savannah looked at him, this man who had unknowingly led her into a trap, who had caused her months of confusion and fear, who might be the only person who could save her from becoming a weapon. How do I know you're not manipulating my memories right now? She asked. You don't, Jackson said simply. But Savannah, look at the evidence. Look at what you've discovered on your own. You wrote those notes, you hid this evidence, you planned for this moment. Even with suppressed memories, even with chemical manipulation, your true self fought through. That's not artificial. That's who you really are. Before Savannah could respond, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. We have your sister. Come to the archive facility at Warehouse 47, Port District. Come alone, or she dies. You have 1 hour. Savannah's sister. The archive had taken her sister. It's a trap, Jackson said, reading the message. Of course it's a trap. But I can't leave my sister with them. Savannah, think about this. How did they get your sister? How did they even know to take her? Savannah's mind raced. Unless they've been watching all of us. All along. Or unless your sister was never in danger because she's already working with them. The possibility hit Savannah like a sledgehammer. Her sister, who had been increasingly worried about her memory problems. Her sister, who had been asking probing questions about her therapy sessions. Her sister, who had insisted she see Dr. Whitfield in the first place. No, Savannah whispered. Not her too. Savannah, I think your entire support system has been compromised. Everyone you trust, everyone you love, they're all connected to the archive. Savannah felt the walls of her reality crumbling. Then who can I trust? Right now? Only yourself. And maybe me, if you're willing to take the risk. Savannah looked at the flash drive in her hands, then at Jackson. What if we don't run? What if we go to them? That's suicide. No, it's not. Jackson, you said you can implant memories. What if we let them think their plan is working? What if we go to this facility, let them believe we're cooperating, and then you use your abilities to turn their own people against them? Jackson was quiet for a long moment. It's incredibly risky. If they suspect what I'm doing, they'll kill us both. But if we run, they'll hunt us forever. And they'll just find other people to experiment on. Savannah stood up, decision crystallizing in her mind. I want my memories back, Jackson. All of them, even if it's dangerous. Savannah, I need to remember who I really am before I face them. I need to know if what I feel for you is real or if it's just chemistry and manipulation. Jackson looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, but if I restore your memories, there's no going back. You'll remember everything, the good and the bad. And Savannah, some of the things you'll remember, they might change how you feel about everything. I'll take that risk. Jackson reached for her hands. Close your eyes. This is going to feel like drowning in reverse. As his fingers touched hers, Savannah felt a rushing sensation, like water flowing backward up a waterfall. Images flooded her mind, not just memories of Jackson, but everything that had been suppressed. Conversations with Dr. Whitfield where she'd expressed doubts about her treatment. Moments when she'd felt like she was being watched. A night when she'd woken up to find her apartment had been searched. And underneath it all, a growing certainty that she was being manipulated, that her life was not her own. But also this, the memory of falling in love with Jackson on a rainy Tuesday afternoon when he'd helped her carry groceries up 4 flights of stairs. The way he'd laughed at her terrible jokes. The night he'd told her about his abilities and she'd stayed anyway, not because of enhanced brain chemistry, but because she'd recognized a kindred spirit, someone else who felt like an outsider in the world. When the flood of memories finally stopped, Savannah opened her eyes. She was herself again, fully and completely. "How do you feel?" Jackson asked. "Like I've been living underwater for months and can finally breathe again." She looked at him with new understanding. "And Jackson? What I feel for you is real. It was real before the serum, and it's real now." "Are you sure?" "I'm sure. Because I remember the exact moment I fell in love with you, and it was 3 weeks before Dr. Whitfield started giving me the serum." Jackson's relief was palpable. "So what now?" Savannah checked her phone. 45 minutes until the deadline. Now we go save my sister. And maybe save everyone else the archive has been experimenting on. And if your sister really is working with them? Savannah's expression hardened. Then we save her from herself. As they walked toward the Port District, Savannah felt the weight of her restored memories, but also something else, a growing awareness of abilities she didn't fully understand yet. The serum might have been designed to enhance her memory capacity, but as her consciousness expanded, she realized she could do more than just store memories. She could see the connections between them, the patterns and links that revealed deeper truths. And what she was seeing about the archive, about Dr. Whitfield, and about the real purpose of their experiments was far more terrifying than anything she'd imagined. "Jackson," she said as they approached Warehouse 47. "I don't think they want to use us to steal government secrets." "What do you mean?" "I think they want to rewrite history itself. Not just access memories, but change them on a massive scale. Control what entire populations remember about the past." The implications of what Savannah was suggesting were staggering. The ability to alter collective memory would be the ultimate tool of control. As they stood outside the warehouse, Savannah realized that whatever happened in the next hour would determine not just their own fate, but potentially the fate of human free will itself. "Ready?" Jackson asked. Savannah squeezed his hand. "Let's go change the world." They walked into the warehouse together, not knowing if they were walking toward salvation or damnation, but certain that they were walking toward the truth. Inside the warehouse, Savannah expected to find her sister tied up, terrified, in danger. Instead, she found her sister sitting calmly at a conference table, flanked by Dr. Whitfield and several other archive operatives. "Hello, Savannah," her sister said. "I'm sorry it had to be this way." "Rose?" Savannah's voice was barely a whisper. "Dr. Rose Whitfield," her sister corrected. "Dr. Magnolia Whitfield is my mentor, not my sister. Though I suppose that makes us sisters of a sort." Savannah felt the world tilting again. "You're not my sister." "Oh, but I am. I'm your biological sister. But I'm also a neuroscientist who's been studying memory manipulation for the past decade." "Savannah, everything you remember about our childhood together? I implanted those memories when you were 18 and came to the city for college." The revelation hit Savannah like a tsunami. "That's impossible. You were our first successful test subject," Dr. Magnolia Whitfield said, standing up. "A young woman with no family, no strong connections, perfect for experimentation. Rose created an entire fictional childhood for you, complete with false memories of growing up together." Savannah looked at Rose, her sister, who wasn't her sister, who had crafted an entire false identity for her. "Who am I really? Your name is Savannah Whitfield. We gave you our family name. But before that, you were Subject Zero. The first person we successfully gave a complete fictional identity to." Rose's voice was clinical, detached. You were in a car accident at 17. No family, no friends to speak of. When you woke up with amnesia, we saw an opportunity. You've been experimenting on me for years. We've been perfecting you, Dr. Magnolia Whitfield corrected. Savannah, you're not just enhanced. You're our masterpiece. The ultimate memory keeper. With your abilities, we can store and organize the memories of thousands of people, catalog them, control them. Jackson stepped forward. And me? What's my role in this? You're the key that unlocks the doors, Rose said. Together, you two can access and control the memories of entire populations. Governments, military leaders, anyone who opposes us. Savannah felt her enhanced abilities kicking in, connections forming in her mind as she processed this information. But that's not all, is it? You're not just planning to control memories. You're planning to replace them. Dr. Magnolia Whitfield smiled. Very good, Savannah. Yes, the ultimate goal is to replace the chaotic, contradictory memories of human experience with clean, ordered, controlled memories. Imagine a world without the trauma of war, without the pain of loss, without the confusion of conflicting viewpoints. Without free will, Jackson said. Freedom is overrated, Rose replied. Look at the world, Savannah. Look at the suffering, the conflict, the pain that comes from people remembering things differently, from holding onto grudges and trauma. We can fix all of that. Savannah looked around the room at these people who had shaped her entire reality, who had given her a false life, false love, false hope. But as her memories swirled and connected, she realized something that made her smile. There's just one problem with your plan, she said. What's that? Dr. Magnolia Whitfield asked. You made me too well. You enhanced my memory capacity so much that I can see the connections you missed. Savannah walked to the center of the room, her confidence growing as her abilities expanded. Rose, you created false memories for me, but you based them on real psychological profiles. I can trace the source material you used. Jackson, when you suppressed my memories, you created patterns that reveal the original structure of my real memories underneath. She turned to face the assembled archive operatives. And Dr. Whitfield, every time you've enhanced someone's abilities, you've left traces of your methods in their neural patterns. I can read those traces now. What are you saying? Rose asked, but Savannah could hear uncertainty in her voice for the first time. I'm saying I know who I really am. Not Subject Zero. Not the fictional Savannah you created. I know my real name, my real history, my real family. Savannah closed her eyes and let her enhanced abilities flow through her, connecting memory fragments, tracing neural pathways, following the breadcrumbs of her true identity that no amount of manipulation could completely erase. My name is Charlotte Bell Torres. I wasn't in a car accident. I was a witness to an archive experiment that went wrong. You erased my memories and gave me a new identity to keep me quiet. She opened her eyes and looked directly at Rose. And you're not a Whitfield at all. You're Charlotte Bell Torres too. You're my actual sister, and they did the same thing to you that they did to me. The silence in the room was deafening. Rose's face went pale. That's impossible. Is it? Look at me, Rose. Really look at me. Use the abilities they've given you. Savannah stepped closer to her sister. They separated us, gave us new identities, and then used us to manipulate each other. The perfect control mechanism. Savannah could see the exact moment when Rose's enhanced memories began to surface, when the artificial barriers began to crumble. Her sister's face contorted with confusion, then recognition, then horror. Charlie, Rose whispered, using a nickname that shouldn't exist in any of her implanted memories. Hello, Rosie. Dr. Magnolia Whitfield was reaching for something in her jacket, but Jackson was faster. With a touch of his hand on her wrist, Dr. Whitfield's eyes went blank. What did you do? One of the other operatives demanded. I gave her a new memory, Jackson said calmly. She now believes that the archive program was terminated 3 months ago, and everyone in this room is here for a final debriefing before the facility is demolished. Savannah watched as the other archive operatives looked around in confusion, their memories of the evening's events becoming uncertain as Jackson's influence spread through the room. "Rose," Savannah said, taking her sister's hand. "I'm going to restore your real memories now. But I need you to trust me. I don't understand what's happening." "I know, but you will." Using her enhanced abilities, Savannah began to trace the pathways of her sister's suppressed memories, carefully restoring the neural connections that had been severed by years of manipulation. As Rose's true memories returned, tears began streaming down her face. "Oh God, Charlie. What did we do? What did they make us do?" "We survived," Savannah said simply. "And now we're going to make sure no one else has to go through what we did." Jackson had finished his work on the archive operatives. They were now calmly packing up equipment, believing they were following orders to shut down the program permanently. "Is it over?" Rose asked. Savannah looked around the warehouse, at the evidence of years of experimentation and manipulation, at the people who had been turned into weapons without their consent. "This part is over. But Rose, there are 12 other subjects out there who deserve to know the truth about who they really are. And the archive? The people in this room will dismantle this facility and forget it ever existed. But the organization is bigger than just this. We have work to do." As they walked out of the warehouse together, Savannah felt the weight of her true memories, her enhanced abilities, and the responsibility of what she'd learned. "So what now?" Jackson asked. Savannah looked at her sister, then at the man she loved, then at the city stretched out before them. "Now we help people remember who they really are, even if their real memories are painful?" "Especially then," Savannah said. "Because the truth, even when it hurts, is still freedom." As they walked away from the warehouse, Savannah realized that her story wasn't ending. It was finally beginning. For the first time in her adult life, she knew who she really was. And she was going to use that knowledge to help others find their way back to themselves too. The memory thief had become the memory keeper. And her real work was just beginning.